Hello everyone. It's it's another one of those nights for me to come on here and talk about my feelings. I've been taking the steps to do better and try to get better, but this is my outlet. I feel very tired these days, very lonely. I think all I've ever really wanted in life was to maybe feel understood or seen by another person. And I think I've had periods in my life where I thought I had that, but then I really quickly found out I was wrong. When I first put out my game on TikTok, I had thousands of eyes on me. And as a teenager, I thought, maybe I won't be lonely anymore. And then I discovered a really harsh truth that you could have thousands of eyes on you and still be lonely. I always thought that I'd have my mom there. I've always had hot and colds with my mom, good times and bad times. She'd put hands on me before. Eventually, I put hands on her one time as a teenager just to kind of like fight back and retaliate. I guess I'm no saint either. But we'd always come back to each other, I guess. Even when I was a teenager and I got put out the house when I was 17, I thought, maybe she'll always still be there for me because she always comes back, right? But when I had my attempt, that put me in a coma, and I woke up, she wasn't there, and that really, really hurt me as a kid. I always kind of said as a teenager that my mom and me were like Mark and Omni-Man. I know that's really dark, but specifically because of the scene where Omni-Man has beaten his son to a pulp because he's trying to like beat his truth into him. And he says, why are you fighting for this? You will live to see everyone you know die and everything you know turn to dust and blow away. What will you have after 500 years? And Mark is beaten to a bloody pulp. And he says, I'll have you, Dad. I'll still have you. And I've gone through a lot with my mom. I've had like 5 stepdads. I've lost count at this point. But I've gone through a lot. I've protected my mom through a lot, even when I was a little kid. And when I woke up from my coma and she wasn't there, it was devastating. When I found out she had gone through my house to take things that I felt weren't of sentimental value, it was devastating. And I'm really scared to put this out here now, because I'm trying to rebuild a relationship with her. And I really hope if she does ever see this, that maybe she'll just listen to how I feel and not get mad that I'm talking about how I feel. Because it's already really hard to open up about how I feel. And it's even harder to do that when someone kind of shuts you down and gets mad at you for that. I don't know. What made it worse is my mom's been in a coma before. After one of her divorces when I was a kid, she fell into a really deep depression. My mom's been in a coma before. And that started whenever my mom's been in a coma before. After a divorce of hers, I was like in the second grade. She got into a really deep depression. And stopped getting out of bed. And that not getting out of bed eventually turned into pneumonia. And I, as a second grader, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to take care of her or myself or the house. And luckily, my grandma was there to visit and help figure things out. But eventually, my mom had to be hospitalized. And she had such severe pneumonia that she had tubes put in her back to drain her lungs. But it did put her in a coma. And I was there when she woke up. So it was a really big deal to me when she wasn't there when I woke up. And the reason she wasn't there is she went on a tropical vacation with her current husband at the time, who is also abusive, who she's still with on and off. And, I really hope to see a day where my mom can decentralize herself from men and really love herself and really put herself and maybe me first. I don't know if I will. My whole life, I've had really intense nightmares about whoever my mom's husband was at the time killing my mom and then me. I still have nightmares like that. Only recently with my new medication for my PTSD has that stopped. My biggest fear in this world is one day I'm gonna get the call that my mom is dead from whoever she's with, from domestic abuse. And when I was still friends with John Doe, I had a brief scare like that. Turned out that's not what it was. It was just a miscommunication. It was a different issue. But that's my biggest fear in life, honestly. Anytime I get a call from a random number I don't know, I think, oh my God, is it time? Is this the call? That it's gonna be that I have to go in and identify my mom? One of her husbands, I remember they were fighting in their room, and I was still a little kid back then. They were fighting in their room, and the door was locked, but I remember it got to a point where she was screaming, but then she was screaming for help, and then she was screaming for me. And I ran to the door, and it was a wooden door, like a solid wood frame door, I think, and I just remember pounding on the door, trying to break it down as a little kid, and not being able to do anything but hear my mom scream for me to help her and to save her. And eventually their fighting came out of the bedroom and into the living room. And he had her on the ground. He was slamming her head into the ground. And he almost broke her neck. And if he had hit her head, I don't remember what angle the ER had said, but if it was to a slightly different angle, he would have broken her neck and killed my mom right in front of me. And I still had to go on and live with these men. That specific one was my stepfather for 13 years. So when I woke up and she wasn't there, I don't know. It did something to me. Now we're rebuilding a relationship, but back then, as a 19-year-old, it did something to me. It really broke me. It really broke my heart and my spirit and my soul. And then what John Doe did, it felt like everything that rooted me from my past broke me and let me down. And then with John Doe, it felt like everything with what I believed was a future outside of the past broke me and let me down. And it was like, if I don't have any stability in the people who made me and in the past and that created me, and I can't believe in a future and what people outside of my family and outside of the people I already know tell me, what do I have? If I can't trust people I already know and I can't trust the people I might meet, what do I have? And I really went inward as a person. I got wrapped up with some not so great people. I don't think I've been really recovered from any of that. I don't really leave my house anymore. It just feels like I don't have a place in this world. Like my whole life, all I've wanted was to fit in, but I never quite fit in. I always get told I'm too much, talk too much, care too much. Not great at expressing myself. I often express myself with media, like wanting to show people movies or episodes of a show or clips of media because it feels like that's my way of expressing my feelings. But no one really wants to listen. I've been outright told it's annoying. I don't know. It feels like I'm just too much for anybody. And people like my art, but people don't necessarily like me, I guess. I just feel very alone and very tired. That's my rant for tonight. Thank you for listening.